Of course, there are people who, especially the older generation, who still sometimes question why I'm outside alone. Yeah, like those people who, maybe taxi drivers, they go like, oh, you're alone now. Why are you alone? You shouldn't be alone.
Then you pull out your 7 gold medals.
Actually, I just wear them everywhere.
I wouldn't even be that surprised. I would do that if I had
I would
7 gold
totally
medals.
do that. Totally do.
Oh, I'm back very heavy today.
You all will have neck aches. I'm sorry.
Quick update. Since we first told you about our Words of Wisdom project, an initiative to capture 60 Singaporean seniors' life stories as podcasts, we've already completed the first 20 recordings. These 20 seniors are from all walks of life: coaches, academics, civil servants, and many others. The good news is, you can still be a part of this once-in-a-generation project. If you know a Singaporean above 60 with an unforgettable life story, nominate them to be interviewed and have their words of wisdom captured forever. And if you, yes, you listening, are that Singaporean with that life story, please nominate yourself. Click on the link in the episode description to find out more or to listen to some of the completed recordings. Each recording takes only 30 minutes, but the lessons left behind will last for a lifetime. And now, on to the podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
Yeah.
So today we have a very special guest with us who has been in the news so many times, all for great reasons.
I know. And I'm very glad that this is the first time on Yala, but that we have someone who has a wax figure at Madame Tussauds as well.
True.
I think you're the first guest that has a wax figure at Madame Tussauds.
That's true. This whole conversation is going to be about that. Okay.
Amazing. I'll tell you like every single detail, how it started.
Yes, please. So we'd like to welcome Yip Pin Xiu, who is a Paralympian, multiple Paralympic gold medalist, world record holder, and just a stellar Singaporean. So thanks for coming on board.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
What an introduction. Like you didn't even put in like ex-NMP or anything in there.
I could go on for like a long time if I put on that.
A long list.
Had to keep it brief. So thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've had a great year. What's your state of mind right now?
Honestly, now it's like just December, right? So everybody's just winding down, and I love December, not for the fact of Christmas or anything, which I also love, but just basically everybody just relaxes, takes a break, and then I think in that sense I also kind of get like a bit of a break. Nobody asking for much, asking for anything, so it's a very chill period, and I love it. And yesterday I was just doing a couple of interviews as well. They kind of asked me to reflect on the year, and I really honestly couldn't, because it feels like 2024 has been so long. Right? Like, I cannot even remember that I went for a certain competition in May until I was looking at a list yesterday, and I was like, oh, this happened this year. So it's been amazing.
It's really that packed during your year that even competitions you win or you participate in, you might not even remember like 3 months down the road, is it?
When I was younger, I could remember everything. Like, in 2007, I went this. But honestly, now, I think because it's been so many years that, especially during the Paralympic year, is very, very packed. We are traveling most of the time. So, like, even when I came back from Paris, I forgot how to be a social person. I was like, oh my gosh, everything is so tiring. This is more tiring than training.
Oh, is it?
But it was because I was just away a lot in the year, competing, training, and things like that. Then I am finally, after a couple of months, remembering how to human again. So that's great.
And not only how to human, but also, I mean, you were in the news recently because you announced your engagement, right, to your fiancé and all. So, I mean, congrats to you.
Thank you so much.
Big, I mean, more busy days ahead, right? Like, well, what's the state of mind after that whole engagement and the big press about it and all?
I don't think we expected it to really like catch on so quickly. Okay. So, we posted the news just because it's, I feel like it would have been nice for like my friends and people around me to know also. So we posted, and then we posted at night, and then the next morning, it was when it came out on a lot of news outlets and like Straits Times reaching out to me to get more comments. And I think I only realized how big it became was when I went to Penang the next day with my family, just a short trip. And then there were a lot of Singaporeans over there congratulating me.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, this feels like more people are congratulating me than when I win the Paralympics.
The lottery of life. Right?
So it surprised you that there was that much coverage?
It surprised me that people cared that much on an engagement rather than... I mean, there are a lot of people who also congratulate me about winning the Paralympics.
Sure.
But maybe they are a bit more seasoned to me winning. So to them, it's like, okay, fine.
That's true. This is your first, your
first, I mean, one and only.
I hope.
7 gold medals, but only one engagement.
And so when I went to Penang, there were, honestly, whenever I was at the hotel lobby, there would be somebody coming out and congratulating me and taking photos. I was like, oh, okay, it's nice that people are celebrating this with me.
Yeah. But did they also congratulate you for the medals you won this year at the Paralympics?
Okay, in the last week, only 2 people have congratulated me about the medals I won in the Paralympics, and most of it has been about the engagement.
So congrats on the medals you won.
Thank you.
That also happened.
It's okay. That one had its time in September already. Now we're moving on.
But is it the most public you've been about your personal life, you think, in your whole career?
Yeah, maybe actually it's like an official thing. I don't hide it, but I'm also not super public about it. I don't share every single thing we do, just because I am generally a bit more on the private side of things. So, Instagram stories is on it, and then my friends will always tease me, oh, you're still soft launching forever. And then boom, super hard launch.
Wow. So did you look back like, oh, I should have posted a different picture, or did you put in a lot of thought about the picture?
I put in a lot of thought in the caption.
Caption. Yeah, that was a very nice caption.
Because I've seen some people post their engagements, and then a lot of news media, they just take the thing wholesale and like take it as the article itself. So I needed to make sure that everything I said was okay, even if it was taken in pieces.
Oh, so you kind of knew that, okay, there's a possibility.
I think there was a possibility. Yeah, I didn't know.
That's damn stress, man.
I prepared for it.
Press release written and everything.
That's a press conference, doorstop interview.
But I mean, so in terms of the next steps, like you're planning for a wedding and everything like that, is that going to happen within the year, the next year, or
within the year?
Next year.
15 days?
No. Next year.
We are aiming to, because next year it's going to be a big year for me as well. We have the World Champs in Singapore. Correct. So it's going to be a very busy year for the sporting calendar, honestly. We have the Able Body World Champs, and then the Masters swimming, and then after that it's the Para World Champs. So it's going to be a whole year of swimming. I hope Singaporeans get a bit excited about it, I guess.
Sure. But I mean, that's what I was asking. I mean, in terms of like balancing, personal life and the commitments to your competitions and all, how do you think that's going to work out? Because a lot of people say, when you have a lot going on in your personal life, it can get in the way of also training and things like that. Do you believe in that?
I think it's taken me a lot of practice over the years to try and balance everything. When I was younger, it was 100% into sports, And it's very often also depending on the coach. If your coach is somebody who believes that you don't deserve rest, then...
Don't deserve rest? Wow.
Then... no, your life is like that. But then if... so those are the very Asian style coaches. When you grow up in China, you have this Chinese style coach. It's 100% every day you train, day in, day out. When I was younger, I trained 11 swim sessions a week and then gym every day.
Shit.
And that was when I was in school. But honestly, at that point in time, it was really good for me also. You know how kids have so much energy to do everything. So it was a really good time to build the base. And then eventually I had a British coach who believed in sustainability, longevity. So I also had a lot of more, not a lot of rest, but reasonable periods of rest in the cycle. Sometimes it's like you peak and then after that you get a bit of rest and then so that you can go a bit further. So it's very different. So I think I really adopted the second style into my life. And also, I think a lot of people like to ask me what happens after swimming, right? But I've come to a realization that I don't even know when after swimming is. So I've learned to really do things while swimming. I have when I did my NMP stint, I didn't wait for my career to stop so that I had time for it. Or now I have a swim school. I don't wait for myself to stop swimming competitively before I start these kind of things. So it's about balancing things concurrently and just seeing where life brings you, I guess.
But how did that in some way factor into your swimming? Do you think, because you have also been quite open about how you've had ups and downs, right? But how has, devoting more time to non-swimming stuff helped you in swimming?
I think my time is still largely devoted into swimming stuff. But I also make it an effort to do other things. When I was younger, I didn't like to network. But at some point, I realized that really... That was when people asked me, what is the one regret you have in life? Those kind of questions. And I was like, I regret not talking to more people and getting to know them and things like that. Because it is very helpful knowing more people in life. Right. And 100% of my priority is still swimming, but it's just how I use all the other energy around it to focus on everything else.
Okay. Because I mean, when we had Shanti Pereira on, she mentioned that a big jump for her was when she really focused 100% on being an athlete. And in fact, everything else, a job and, studies, all that, had to take a backseat for that. But for you, I'm hearing that it's much more like you don't want to wait for anything. You just want to be able to seize opportunities as they come. And really just enjoy life to the fullest and but at the same time still keep training like crazy, right?
But I think also at a certain point I was there. I had to get a very good base first. Everything, all the decisions I made really surrounded around training. I mean, even now, like the dates we want to hold our wedding next year is also surrounding the competition calendar.
It's true. Yeah.
So basically everything is around there. But at the same time, you also need to plan. I think a lot of athletes, they don't... When we talk about retirement, it's not retirement from life. It's really retirement from the sport itself. And then you still got to do life, everything. So because at a certain age, if you've been an athlete for so long, your identity really just is an athlete. You don't know much how to do anything else. So I also need to plan a smooth plan for eventually when I decide that, okay, I'm done with swimming competitively, what happens?
And what made you realize that? Was it your own introspection or hearing from your peers?
I think it was another coach. So for a period of time, I worked with Mark Che, who used to be an ex-swimmer. And he was just my mentor even now. I talk to him about a lot of things and he helps me to gives me advice on what happens after life, how you plan for it, things like that.
I see. But so you mentioned that Apex, right, your swim school, like what's the philosophy behind the swim school that makes it different from, say, other schools out there?
So I started Apex swimming with a few other people. They are also national team coaches, and then one of them is a education guy. So he's been in the education space for a long time. Our philosophy really branches from two areas. First of it is we all went through this whole sporting journey. So, I didn't learn punctuality in school or learning how to respect my teachers that much in school. It was mostly learned from the pool. Did you all do any sports growing up?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Not really, but I understand the idea of discipline.
Actually, it took you a lot longer.
Longer, I would say yes.
But then, like sports, if you do it seriously at a certain level, it really instills a lot of these values in you. And I appreciate that. I wouldn't be where I am without sports and with a disability. So it has made a huge impact on me. And therefore, I want it to also I want other kids to have the opportunity to have this in their lives. And like an easy opportunity at least. Not that you have to join the national team or something.
Yeah.
You just have to be in a really good environment. And then the other one stems from learning how to swim properly and quickly. So we also pride ourselves in not keeping the kid in a certain stage for too long. We bring them through the stages, and eventually, if they want to join the development squad, they are more than welcome to join the development squad.
Oh, okay.
And what sort of stages you mean?
So like you start with learning how to blow bubbles in the water.
Oh, okay.
I've seen some kids stay in that stage for like a year. But we, of course, try and move them up as soon as they learn how to. Yeah, so that's important to us.
Yeah. And why the name Apex?
Couple of reasons, apex predator, or like at the top of your game, kind of thing. Yeah.
I see. So in terms of like you're saying about wanting more people to be able to move between the stages quickly, because I understand for yourself even becoming a backstroke specialist also wasn't the first stroke that you were doing and all that, right?
Correct.
Are you talking about moving quickly between deciding what works for you or what doesn't work for you, or when you say move between stages, like?
I think when I say move between stages in a swim school, it just means like learn faster.
Okay.
So, we start off with learning freestyle.
Okay.
After the blow bubble and the water confidence stage, right, and then eventually go on to all the strokes, and then lastly it's butterfly.
Okay.
Because that's the hardest one for kids and adults.
Yeah.
And but for myself, right, I think every kid learns everything first. I eventually moved from freestyle to backstroke because I realized that I think first of all was because I realized that I like it more. You don't have to be so conscious about holding your breath and doing like how many strokes, then breathe one time. Freestyle, backstroke, you also need a certain kind of momentum, but it's just something that I enjoy more. The only thing I don't really enjoy is getting a goggle tan line.
Oh.
Yes.
That's a real problem, yeah.
It's a real problem. I put a lot of sunblock for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, during a race, because I was watching some of your races, and the backstroke, the nice thing is you're looking up, right? Is there an arena or a sky or something that you remember that was just like it's etched in your mind across all your races?
Honestly, I think that would have to be Beijing. Like the very first, my very first Paralympic Games in 2008. Yeah. Honestly, it feels like so long ago. But that particular race is still something I can remember today. And I think we really had a strategy going in. I wasn't training in the competition pool. I wasn't acclimatizing in the competition pool. We only went to the competition pool when I was racing. So to me, and some coaches like to do this like acclimatization in the pool, so you do recognize the sights and everything. But for me, I was maybe kept from the pool a bit more. I probably only saw it once before the race, and then I raced in it. So to me, it was like trying to focus on the race, but at the same time, when you're racing, your brain goes to another place.
Yeah.
I don't know where. And then I'm just like, ooh, because it was the water cube. So it actually looked very nice.
Yeah. I remember that.
And that was when you were 16, your first 16. Major games.
Correct.
Wow.
Right? Oh,
crazy.
Man.
I can now say that it was half a lifetime ago.
Yeah. Quite officially, right?
But I think what's been so great about your journey is that it's opened a lot of people's eyes to Paralympics, and Paralympians. But even down to the technical details, right? Like, how are Paralympians classified? Because I know there's a lot of different classifications for a lot of the sports, right?
Yes.
For a noob like me, I know there are different classifications, but how are they classified?
So before every athlete races in all the para sports, we have to go through a certain kind of classification. So in swimming, there are 14 classes. So the S14 itself is for people with intellectual impairment. Then 11 to 13 is visual impairment. So 13 is like you can see a little bit. You don't really need a stick.
Okay.
And then 12 you probably need, and then 11 is when you swim with blackout goggles. So
I see.
11 is really, really fair because everybody swims with blackout goggles, right? And I've tried it before as part of like training strategy. It is pretty scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You smash into the lane ropes.
Yeah.
Para swimming is tough because you smash into things you don't want to, but you have to.
Yeah.
Like, like some swimmers have no hands, so they use their head and like really touch the wall with a lot of like might.
Yeah.
Go straight into the wall just so that they get a faster time. Yeah.
It's scary.
Scary, yeah. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
And not get a concussion.
Yeah.
And then so 1 to 10 are the physical disabilities. And then you really just see your function and you place them in it. Yeah.
I see.
So in that sense, it's supposed to be a bit more fair, but sometimes it's really difficult when the person is in between classes and things like that. Yeah. They try to make it as fair as possible.
I see.
And that's something that happens before every game?
No, before. So one game, and then you can have a certain review. If your condition is a deteriorating one, then maybe you are under R, which is review.
Okay.
And then if, for example, you lost a limb, and then you can't lose, you technically don't lose any more limbs after that, right?
Yeah.
Then that's a C. Unless it's like a confirmed grade.
Confirmed, okay.
Yeah. So unless you really need more reclassification, then you write into them and things like that. Otherwise, it's pretty much there.
I see. And what was the landscape for Paralympics or Paralympians back in 2008? Was there like a big contingent for Singapore?
Maybe I cannot be absolutely certain about this, but maybe we had about 8 athletes. I remember swimmers was Teresa and myself. Then we had track and field, sailing, equestrian. So like a few athletes from everywhere, and then it kind of mix up like 8 to 10 people in the team.
Yeah. So but the in terms of how the landscape has changed since then, I think you've like you mentioned, like opened a lot of doors for people to look at the Paralympics very differently, right? Are there a lot more opportunities today for Paralympians compared to before? Like, do you look at it and like do you look at the Paralympians today and feel like, wow, they have it so much easier or anything?
I feel that if we were to compare things, like 2008 really opened a lot of doors.
Yeah.
Especially after I got a gold medal, and then Lauren Sher came back with a couple of medals as well. I think it was an indication that there was this area of sports that was maybe forgotten in Singapore or wasn't even known about. Training for the games, I was training under Coach Ang Peng Siong at that time. And he knew what it was like to train for high performance team. He looked for, we had a physiotherapist who was Finnish, from Finland. And then our psychologist was Australian. So he really formed a team with us together with a couple of guys from back then it was called Singapore Sports Council. So our biomechanist was local, dietitian was local. Yeah, so he knew the importance of a team really working together, and what we call the dream team. We've tried to replicate it a few times over the years as well. But the people have changed, the scientists have changed, so it's very different at this point in time. But he one person, Uncle Siong, knew what was needed to help an athlete achieve the best, go to the furthest.
A psychologist. So back then it must have been quite a new thing to like have a psychologist specifically for the team, right?
Yeah, I think it was very rare to have such a good psychologist. Because my very first session with her, it was no nonsense, no mollycoddling or anything. Just sit down. What are your goals?
Or no lying down on a couch and then talking about your dreams.
Don't have. Sadly, no.
So straight up, like, what are your goals?
Yeah, straight up, what are your goals? Of course, we knew who she was, and like we were kind of had a friendship before that already. And then sit down. What are your goals? How do we get there? Goal setting is not just, in primary school, they're like, okay, what are your goals? Then, I want an A in class. Then, okay, they don't teach you how to continue getting an A. You know, they just tell you to study hard. But what is study hard? And eventually, through sports, I realized that goal setting, it needs to be something quantifiable. It needs to be a number or a target that you can reach. You know, A is like, what is A? Okay, 75 marks and above. So I want a gold medal. What's a gold medal? Then I got to compare with all of my competitors in the world. What number do I need to keep the gold medal? You know?
But isn't there like a flip side to that? Is that if it's a number, then once you achieve it, right? Because I know you've also spoken about the Paralympic hangover, right? So how do you balance that then?
Okay, different things, because the Paralympic hangover, I only had it in my very first games. When you work so hard in it, and then after you reach your goals, what's next, right? Do I want another medal? What's another medal for? You know, so I had a couple of years where I kind of fell off the wagon, but I think thankfully I was pretty young, so I could find my way back again. But this Olympic hangover thing doesn't happen to everybody. But I've also seen quite a few cases where the athlete just doesn't know what next, you know, get a bit lost. They take a break that's a bit too long because they don't know what's next. Yeah. How do you avoid an Olympic hangover? I think it's really tough because you will never know the results of the games until it happens. You never know what you get. Even if everybody says that, oh, you're going to get a gold medal, it might or might not be true. Right. And I think at the end of the day, it's also the athlete's resilience. If you if you don't win, what happens next? Do you still want to continue this? Some people want to because they find so much joy in it. Some people are like, okay, no, I'm done. So I don't think it's something you can stop, but it's something you can work through quicker if you find the right people to work through it with.
I see.
So in the days or hours leading up to your race, what is actually going through your mind at the point? Like you mentioned, if people maybe telling you, oh, you're going to win this or what are you telling yourself like in the hours before the race? Like, I can do this, I'm the winner. Or what are you saying to yourself at that point?
I think in Paris, it was a bit, I wasn't that certain that I was going to win this. But the people around me were very certain. But again, sometimes when you don't know the full picture, you can just like say things, right? Like, oh yeah, you're going to win this. But I knew the full picture. I knew physically how I felt, my fitness level, where it was, what I needed to work on, how much time I had. And I didn't really focus on who I was competing with because that's one of my strategies. I don't really care who I'm competing with. I just care most about my times and just try to beat them. But this mindset, it's a pretty lonely journey because at the end of the day, you're really in your head space a lot alone because at the end of the day, only you know what's going on.
Correct.
Right? The team works with you day in, day out, but they don't know how you feel. So it's not the same. Used to be less lonely when I had teammates, I think. And they kind of go through all the pain together. But was it stressful? Also, I think it was so stressful that it was so deep down that I couldn't feel it also.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. And it didn't really like manifest in a lot of things. It was just that even after the games, I was just feeling the tension. Even after I won already, I was still feeling the tension for like 2 whole weeks.
Oh, really?
And then in my head, I'm like, why am I feeling like this? I've achieved what I wanted to. It's pretty good results. Why am I feeling like this? So it took a lot of self-talk and figuring out everything. And then I just realized that probably it was just a long build-up for a while already.
Adrenaline, like the adrenaline build-up.
And I'm guessing right now, because like what you mentioned, you have won so many gold medals that I think people are, of course she's going to win. Right? Did you feel that also, like the added pressure built up over the years?
We call it curse of your own success, that you've been so successful over multiple times that people expect it from you, or that if you or that if you win, it's like a meh thing because they expect it from you.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And does it add pressure? I think it does, but also I don't think about it. Honestly, going in, I also tell myself that even if you don't win, it's fine. You know, you've put in 100%. But of course, that's what you tell yourself, you know. If I don't win, is it really going to be fine? I don't know.
But just imagine the pressure, like before you start race, like all the gold medal, all the times you've received a gold medal, your wax figure, all these things will be flashing in front of my face. If I was about to race and the stress, I don't know. I might get irritated with people who keep telling me, "Oh, you're going to win, you're going to win, you're going to win."
Or like, hey, good luck, Terrence.
Thanks. Just to shut that out takes a lot of mental stress.
Honestly, the month leading up to that, I was like super on edge. So like I wasn't a very nice person to hang out with also. I was very, very on edge. And my team and I, we were in Manchester at that point in time. The tension and the mood and that camp was very, very high.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we were all tired, you know, even the team was tired. And then this kind of energy going around. But we also knew that at the end of the day, it really was all part of the process. Yeah, so like I've gotten angry with my coaches on my team and they've gotten angry with me, you know, not doing some of the things that were expected. So, but it's at the end of the day, how do we understand that it's all part of this journey? And that we weren't nasty or anything, but really just like how to mend friendships again after everything.
So you know, like I mean, you have won so much, and you did say that, you know, there's a lot of traveling that you do as part of competing, but your training anchor has always been in Singapore, you know, and we like there's this rhetoric, you know, we hear with the successors of Joseph Schooling or Max Meter that you have to go outside of Singapore to train. And I mean, even for media, right? You know, a lot of artists, they go outside of Singapore, they get famous, and there's this notion that, oh, you can't make it big in Singapore unless you go out and prove yourself. But you have done the complete opposite, lah. And how what do you think when people kind of utter that, or if there's that narrative going on?
Honestly, that is one of the things that I'm quite proud of. You know, that we managed to do all of this from Singapore. We did bring in some people from overseas when we really had to, just to boost the experience in the team. But being based in Singapore and doing it for so many years, I think it's really like, I hope that it shuts people off or like gives them something to think about when they're pretty sure that, oh, you have to go to America to make it big. I understand why they had to in some areas, like sailing. You can't really sail in Singapore just because geographically there isn't much wind, you know. And in America, if you swim there, then there's so much more racing opportunities. So each to each their own, you know. If you think it helps, go. But I'm pretty sure all of them really tried. At least the swimmers, they tried being in Singapore first. And then like at a certain point, they realized they need something else, then they go.
But in terms of like, let's say when going to somewhere like Paris, right? Does the place environment, like, does it lift your mood when you got to Paris and there was this buzz about the Paralympics, or, you know, like you go to different places, Manchester or what, there's this buzz about the competition, or does it lift your mood before you actually go and race?
It puts you in a zone where you know that no time to play already, no time to hang out with your friends.
Oh, really?
And
I thought Paris would make you like, oh yes, it's time to go and chill out and have a
after everything. Yeah, but we're really in the zone, you know, whenever we travel. That's why we go on training camps. To just not have life distraction. And then whenever I tell people that, they're like, why, is the swimming pool there different? I'm like, no, but you have less distractions. And then they'll go like, oh, you can just be less distracted in Singapore, what? But you know, it's a lot harder than that. You know?
Then after you just ask them to shut up.
Yeah, correct. Yes. Then I offer for them to follow me and do the whole training program, but nobody has ever taken on the challenge. I'm quite sad. You want to try?
I mean, I'm sure, man. Going for a training camp where I don't have to compete and be stressed. Sounds.
But you have to train.
Train is fine. Yeah. But
so you're the kind you don't like competition.
oh no, I actually do like the competition. I do like, and I think sometimes I like. I mean, my level of competition is nowhere close to Olympics. It's just like last time, like play league hockey or something like that. So I like the competition, but I find it takes over me too much. Yeah. So
how you run after people with a stick.
No, he becomes very unpleasant.
Yeah, I
he
become very
unpleasant.
So
like,
you get it, right?
Yeah. Like there will be a group photo of the whole team, everyone smiling, laughing. Then he like blackface because they lost. I've seen it. Yeah.
This when you know somebody's ultra competitive.
Yeah. Unpleasant to be around.
No, they never let it die down. There is that photo. But you know, like, I mean, like, okay, so I played hockey, which is a team sport, and play football and all. But I'm always in awe of people who do things like swimming or track and field, where it is your lane. You are literally doing the same thing over and over, and you've done it for so long. And you know, you mentioned this year that when you were younger, you used to remember every competition. Now it's almost like a blur. Is there a sort of desensitization, or is it something you have to fight, like not getting just jaded with doing it, or the love and the freedom that you feel in the pool is still there like it was in day one?
There has been one period in my life where I didn't feel the excitement anymore. And back then it was probably 2009, 2010, you know, after the Beijing Paralympic Games, and then some point during the hangover. And then I thought to myself, okay, maybe it's this point where I feel like confident enough where I don't really feel nervous in the pool anymore.
Yeah.
But I realized that's pretty much bullshit. If you're not nervous, it just means you don't care about it.
Yeah.
You know, you don't care, you haven't trained enough, you haven't prepared enough for this to be important to you. So even now, I get the right kind of nerves. I want to get a good time and things like that. So I don't think it's so much as desensitization, but it's really finding new ways to make life a bit more exciting. My training program is all over the place, you know, in a good way.
Yeah.
So if you don't train with me or my coach, you look at our program, you don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Because like he uses all the words and things like that. And even my sports scientist can look at a paper and go like, I don't know what you're doing today. So he keeps things fresh and exciting, all towards the same goal, but a different program all the time. So it's really small things like that still help me be excited, you know, to do the things that I do.
I see. Wow. I mean, but your life already is so many different things, right? You're activist and all that as well. Like doesn't it come to a point where you feel burn out from like so much variety of events and training in your life?
I think at a certain point, a couple of years back, I did realize that I can't do everything, you know. I can't do everything and do it well. I need to have less things on my plate and then do the less things well. Yeah, so I've been a bit more picky and selective with what I do as well. But I think there will always be like people saying that, oh, she doesn't give time for this, she's a bad person.
Oh, really?
So there has been things that I've really had to balance and be okay with giving people this impression just because I need to do the things that I want to do well.
I mean, you coming on the podcast, we really appreciate it. And you were a lot easier to coordinate.
I think you got a bit worried like 2 days ago. Remember?
But when the moment you said a firm yes, I was like, I knew you will come on.
This is a Paralympic
Paralympian promise, you know. But so yeah, I did want to ask, like, outside of swimming and affairs of the heart and things like that, what are you proudest of? Like, is it the wax figure at Madame Tussauds, or what is it that you're really proud about as outside of competitive arena?
This one's an easy answer for me. Like just yesterday, I was in the mall. I was at Raffles City, and I saw a lot of people with disabilities out and about. You know, people on wheelchairs and things like that. And of course, not to say that I did it. You know, I didn't do this, but I would like to think that my journey over the years has really open the eyes to make baby steps in society for more people to understand that when I was younger, the only people I saw in wheelchairs were those sitting outside MRT selling tissue paper. And that was the representation that I had. You know, a couple of people with disabilities coming out in the paper saying that they were lawyers. So my mom had this other train of thought that, okay, you just study really, really hard. You know, next time you can be a lawyer. You don't need to move much, but you can have a good job. But no, I'm not the lawyer kind. I'm the athlete kind. And then, so I think over the years, really more representation of people with disabilities has really made Singapore a more, I would like to think, a more welcoming place. Of course, there are people who, especially the older generation, who still sometimes question why I'm outside alone. Like those people who, maybe taxi drivers, they go like, oh, you're alone now. Why are you alone? You shouldn't be alone.
Then you pull out your 7 gold medals.
Actually, I just wear them everywhere.
I wouldn't even be that surprised. I would do that if I had
would
7 gold
totally
medals.
do that. Totally do.
I'm back very heavy today.
Yeah, we'll have neck aches. Sorry. But honestly, there are also like just 10% of people I see maybe, and then other 90% who are amazing and wonderful and so kind. So I do feel that society has changed so much.
Yeah.
It's not just people with disabilities going to work and then home. They have lives, they have communities around them. And I like to think that I was part of this journey. Yeah.
I mean, I think you definitely were. Like as someone just seeing your journey, it's, I mean, even the details of Paralympics or Paralympians, I think you have played a big part. So thank you for that.
No, because it's beyond just like Singapore being infrastructurally, more accessible to PWDs. But it's like the fact that people, I've seen the Purple Parade. I saw there were young girls who ran up to people who work in there and said, I'm here to see Yip Pin Xiu. I can't wait to see her. Where is she? So excited, like treating you like a national hero. I'm like, wow, this is what it means to really inspire young people, right? To really look beyond labels and be able to see a lot of see that people come in different shapes and sizes, and there are heroes of all shapes and sizes also. That's what I think is like even more so than I mean, Joseph Schooling, all this, yes. But for people to see beyond just infrastructure being important, but also just aspiring to more, right?
Yeah. And I think it's all really been a part of it, when there are people with disabilities in representation, then people who make decisions think about what kind of decisions need to be surrounded around these people. Yeah, and I think it does move society forward. So like the Purple Parade, I'm a big part of it, and I think it's really an amazing effort because it helps to build awareness in the community. The awareness to support inclusion and celebrate awareness. And is it support inclusion and celebrate awareness? Celebrate, yeah, correct.
Celebrate, yeah.
And till this day, I believe that you only get to know about the scene if you know somebody with a disability or if you have exposure to them. So the Purple Parade is good because it brings companies together to kind of form contingents and walk in support of the Purple Parade. A lot of people say that, okay, not a lot of people, but there are definitely a group of naysayers who say that, oh, it's just a show. Why not do something that actually helps the community, like maybe more funding or things like that. But I also think that awareness is extremely important, especially for the greater community, people outside the community, to see what's going on and see that at the end of the day, there are so many people who are working on this. We are at the end of the day, we need better education, better employment, more opportunities for like daily living community stuff. And I think the Purple Parade helps with that.
So, a big part of like awareness and empathy and all comes with just understanding and maybe clarifying certain doubts that people have, right? So, and I think for clarifying doubts, sometimes you need to ask questions and sometimes you need to ask stupid questions.
I love stupid questions.
So, I was going to ask, like, how do you feel about questions that people ask that seem like, how could you ask that? But it's done with genuine curiosity. So, for example, personally for me, I only found out recently that the term is persons with disabilities. And I wasn't aware that is the term. But I feel like, even when I was thinking, should I ask Pin Xiu about this and all? But I feel like it's something that I would like to ask and understand. But do you think that's part of understanding persons with disabilities, like the freedom to ask these questions? Or you think there is a line lah.
I think there definitely is a line. Because you can't go up, you wouldn't like it if somebody went up to you and then asked you something out of the blue, and especially something that was not very nice.
Like, do all Indian people like curry? Because that's
Exactly.
just, yeah.
Do people come up to you and do that?
Do you get that a lot?
I still get sometimes lah.
Oh,
But
okay.
I mean,
But more because you don't eat curry lah, right?
I
Then
don't eat
people,
spicy food.
Yeah, then people get
People are like,
surprised.
I'm like, hey, don't be stupid.
They'll cross the line.
Cross the line. Yeah. So yeah, I totally agree there's a line, but I wanted to hear your take on where that line is and even like what role do you think questions like that play lah?
I think for me, I think it's a tone, If you ask me a question, but you make sure that you ask it nicely and you ask it in a way that it's out of genuine curiosity, I will answer it and with pleasure. But if you ask it like very rude with certain connotations about it, then I'll be like, maybe not.
So like,
let's share some examples. I don't know what you want to ask me. Ask me in a nice way and then in a not so nice.
So the one question was that about that term, like why is it so important it's phrased that way? Because so I grew up with hearing the term disabled people.
Yes.
Right.
That's actually already nicer than handicap.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, if a question comes up during the podcast, I will ask. But along those lines, like, what do you think? Because in terms of content, right? Because we do content, we do comedy, and I'm not saying we specifically want to do comedy about certain topics. But you know how in the realm of cancel culture now, you often hear there are some things that you just cannot joke about. You cannot talk about. You cannot make jokes. But I feel as someone in comedy, like what you said, you can make jokes about most things is what the joke is. But for you and for us to understand, I know there's a line, but how do you see that? Do you think that sometimes it almost makes it more accessible because they're treating people with disabilities as people? You make fun of people, you make fun of people with disabilities. Yeah. How do you feel about that?
So we say we can make jokes of people with disability because it's basically we're joking about ourselves.
Yeah.
And then we give people around us this thing called a Paralympic privilege for them to also make jokes about the games or anything.
Really?
But we know that it's not from a nasty place.
Yeah.
Okay,
You know sometimes comments online.
Yeah.
On Instagram, Facebook, it may come from a nasty place, right? But again, when it's online, it's very hard to tell because there's you don't know the tone that they're speaking of. So, of course, we do make jokes, and I think that it's like privilege, right? Like you have Indian privilege, so you can make jokes about the community if you want to.
And I can bestow Indian privilege on some people also.
Right? So I can bestow Paralympic privilege.
I knight them, with a prata or something. Oh my god! See, I just made a joke that no one else can say. Yeah.
And then like you make it, and then you don't know if it affects like people in the community. Some of them they're like, oh, why is she making this kind of jokes? It allows other people to make jokes in our community. But I think life cannot be too serious sometimes. We need to just have a bit of fun, lighten up. And like when it comes to terms, right? Even myself, I'm not too sticky about the terms, honestly. I grew up thinking that, handicap is not nice because somebody probably tell me that, handicap has such a bad term to it. And then at a certain point in my life, they're like, disabled is not very nice also. Then I'm like, then at the end of the day, call what? Yeah. Right? Everything also cannot. So to me, disabled is okay, but maybe to some people it's not. So it's difficult. I think people might get cancelled here and there, but just try not to overstep the line too much. Yeah.
And if you want to ask us with like genuine curiosity.
Genuine curiosity.
But so, sorry. So if you like see you're in public and then there's this mother or father with a small kid, and then the small kid comes and just asks, why is she sitting in a wheelchair? That kind of thing.
I love it.
But do you expect the mother to just say shh, or should the mother correct the person?
No,
kid?
I love it when the questions are directed to me.
Directed to you. Okay.
But very often the kid goes to the mommy, Mommy, why is she on a wheelchair? Then the mother, shh, they try and push the kid behind, especially in a lift. So like you hear everything already because the lift is so small and so compact.
Yeah.
Sometimes the mom directs the questions to me and then I answer it. And I think
okay.
that's a very nice way to handle it.
Okay.
Doesn't mean you don't talk about it. You just talk about it nicely, right? But I think a lot of people also don't know how to deal with the questions that their kids ask.
Yeah.
And they think that it's rude. So they just like try and like cover their mouth until I get off the lift.
So if anyone is listening and has been in a situation of the word, your advice is that get your kid to ask you directly.
Or even they can ask me directly. Like have a conversation about it. Yeah. As long as it's not rude, like, why are you outside here? You're on a wheelchair. You know? Like don't think that if somebody is disabled, then they only can do certain things in life. That kind of tone.
I see. So, like, speaking of that, like, actually, what happens after the Paralympics? Like, I think, like, you told me before that you were hanging out in Paris for a while, right? But what do you guys do after the Olympics? And I mean, in a place like Paris, right? Once in a lifetime when there's Olympics there and all that.
So after the games, it really depends on your what do you call that? Your
performance.
Your team. Your performance.
No, your like what their rules is, you know, like some people they don't really allow their athletes to explore the country. Then some, let's say like a National Paralympic Council. Then some people are a bit more flexible. They're like, okay, yeah, sure, go out as long as you tell me where you go and make sure you come back at night. You know? So it really depends on a lot of rules. But this time around we were allowed to head out.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because nobody wants to get locked in Paris, right? Yeah. And we couldn't really go and watch the other teams.
Okay.
Because of accreditation. We didn't have accreditation to go into the other teams. But we had some dinners with the Singapore embassy and that was so nice because you know a lot of Singaporeans in Paris came down for the dinner and they had like chicken rice and all the local food in Paris, so everybody really enjoyed themselves.
But you didn't feel like you're in Paris and you're eating chicken rice?
But eating chicken rice with Singaporeans in a different country is a different experience.
That's true.
Maybe the rice is different also because it's from France.
It's a different experience.
It's a French chicken, you know, French chicken.
Yes.
But the one you are encouraged to walk around with your medal, I suppose, like because you are literally there representing the country.
No, I don't want people to rob me. I just didn't want to get a neck ache.
Or at the embassy, the Singapore embassy, that chicken rice dinner, did you have your medal?
Probably. We were probably told to bring our medals, you know, take photos with the Singaporeans. And all of them actually went to watch the games. So it was so nice because the very first day I raced already in Paris. And this time around, the swimming pool was in the middle of a rugby arena. Yeah, so, you know, swimming pool sitting is normally just like this and like this. Two at the sides of the pool. But the rugby arena was really like all around. So you could hear people cheering from all around you. And I was doing my warm-up in the competition pool when people started to stream in. And then I just got like so much adrenaline. I got a stomach ache. I was like, I can't leave the toilet. It's just fight or flight, you know.
Because of the atmosphere.
Yeah, the atmosphere. You could see so many, like, I remember counting like at least 5 different areas where Singaporeans were, like they were carrying flags, they were waving. Of course, there were a lot more French people holding like faces of their athletes. Big, huge ones. Yeah, but I think this is one of the times racing overseas where I felt like so much Singaporean presence in the crowd.
Then did you hear the occasional Shiok? No, that kind of like...
I actually heard my name. It's quite amazing. So the pool gets very quiet at the start, right? So before the taker marks, and then I heard like, Go Ping Xiu! And I could identify the voices also. So I could even more
you hear the Singlish.
After that, I texted the person, I could hear you.
That's awesome. So then, like next year, you know, the World Championships are going to be in Singapore.
Correct. Are you going to be there?
Of course.
Holding billboards of my face?
Of course. I'm sure
if it's in Singapore, I'm there.
And it's happening when?
It's happening at the end of September.
So then now, like the bulk of the crowd will be there for you, lah.
I hope so. No, we'll be there for Team Singapore.
Team Singapore, yes, Team Singapore. But like, in Paris, you said the Team Singapore fans were the minority.
Like in splotches,
Yeah, so the mood must be like insane.
It's insane. Okay, honestly, I don't want to put pressure on myself, but whenever I've raced in Singapore in a big meet that I've like really prepared for, I've broken world records. So like the Singapore crowd really does help to spur the athlete on. So I'm not going to say I'm going to break a world record this time because that's going to be too difficult, but I hope to just like do a really good time.
I see. But the sports psychologist will be like, okay, what's the world record you want to break this time? Okay, let's say
you say it on the podcast. You say it on the podcast.
Now my psychologist don't do this anymore. Change already.
Is it?
Because she's too many gold medals and too many world records. You can't use that anymore.
So then, like, I mean, the Singapore Paralympians have achieved a lot, but, like, does it still feel like there's a gap in terms of how Paralympian athletes are seen versus Olympian athletes? And nothing to do with the athletes themselves. It's the perception of these athletes. I know things are changing, but do you feel there's still a huge gap, or we are converging? Like, it's converging?
Every time it happens, it slowly converges. But I think there is definitely still a very, very big gap on public perception. I think, when it comes to support from Sports Singapore, from MCCY, it is pretty equal. We get the same kind of spec scholarships that helps athletes. We get the same kind of supports from the sports scientists.
Every photo also has Edwin Tong in the background.
No, he's honestly like a really, really great sports minister.
He's really supported them.
Yeah, he's so amazing. Since the time he's been in MCCY, he genuinely has a heart for the athletes and for awesome. the programs. Yeah, and so the support from official channels, it's all equal. But I really feel that it boils down to public perception. People are supportive of the Paralympic Games, but also the media does not push it out enough. So, for example, at the Olympics, almost the whole Straits Times sports desk was there.
Yeah.
And then covering the games, a lot of people from CNA, if we talk about mainstream media.
Yeah.
But then when it came to the Paralympics, I think there were very few reporters actually on site covering the games. And probably somebody said the same thing about ESPN, like how ESPN put over hundreds of posts out about the Olympic Games, but when it came to the Paralympics, maybe in the early stages, there were only like 4 posts or things like that. So I think that the media does play a part in helping to push out the games, the athletes, the results, and things like that. But even if you look at recently, right, I think Straits Times had whose name was most searched. Yeah, like Max Mader. One was first. So you know that Singaporeans are watching the news of the Olympics. They're searching and things like that. I think his song even came out above Lawrence Wong. I think so. Yeah, because at the same time also he's a very new athlete and not a lot of people have heard about him, but people do know the other names in the Taylor Swift's name was there also.
Sure.
Yeah, so we know that there is still a difference, but I think it's also the role of the media and maybe even corporates to support to see how they can further support sports and these athletes. Yeah, if they would like to, if they are convinced of the story.
But that said, like, I did want to touch on it because that's the first thing I talked about. Like, you have a wax figure at Madame Tussauds. How does that even come about? Like what they have to inform you beforehand? Do you have to do any sit downs and model for them or anything?
Speaking of the wax figure, it's quite funny because I think today they posted something like about how they upkeep the figures, and then there was the picture of my wax figure getting my hair curled. And then one of my friends, he messaged me on Instagram and then he was like, "Oh, your wax figure has a stylist?" Then I'm like, yeah, my wax figure's luckier than me. I don't get a stylist.
Oh, that must be so surreal, man. Watching your wax figure get her hair curled.
Exactly. And then there I am, like this. With uncurled hair, not fair. Yeah. But how it happened was, I think this was in 2022,
Yeah.
I got an email from the Singapore Madame Tussauds. And I was very excited about it because Madame Tussauds was something that my family and I did when we were younger, you know.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one we went to, the London one or the Hong Kong one.
Yeah.
One of them. And to think that I would have a wax figure somewhere, that was pretty cool. So I was like, pretty much, I asked a few questions. We talked about it, what they were going to do with the wax figure, how we're going to launch it. And then I was super on board already. We did 2 sittings. Very often people only do 1 sitting. So the figure doesn't look as accurate. But we did 2 sittings because the guys came down to Singapore. And we did about like a 3-hour sitting. And then I went up to Manchester because I was competing there. So they drove down with the head from London to Manchester.
With the head of your wax. Oh my god!
It's like a horror movie.
Did they bring in a case, like a case with
like
a mold?
a completely sealed wooden box. And then like everything was so secure.
So, but that's to sort of like cross-check with your actual face.
Just made it like super sure, like made sure like all the crevices were there, like enough eye bags. Things like that. So when it came out, I was like shocked. Because it was so real. Honestly,
it looks very real.
It kind of felt like, oh, is this how is this how it looks like when I die? Because it was so real, I got so scared. And then after looking at it for a while, I was like, okay, no, it's actually super good.
Wait, so how, were you nervous before it was unveiled? Like,
I wasn't nervous, but when it unveiled and I saw how real it was, I was like, I had a tiny bit of shock. I was like, oh.
So did you like look into her eyes, and have like this very surreal like Black Mirror moment kind of thing or anything?
It was just a moment of shock and thinking like, oh my gosh, this is how I'm gonna look like.
So that means right from the first email, really, they were like, we want to do a wax. What an email to receive.
Yeah, I would think it's a scam.
It appeared in my junk folder. So it took me a while to eventually get it.
So you may not have seen it.
Correct.
Oh my!
So always check your junk folder.
So it basically, I would totally think it's a scam, lah.
But then, how many months did it take before it was finished and sort of unveiled?
I think the first sitting took about 6 months for it to happen.
Okay.
It was just one of the hotel event spaces in Singapore. Then I had to sit on this like lazy Susan thing on the floor.
They spin you around.
And then they turn it. And then I had to maintain a certain face and then my hands in a certain position. Then after that, they did that. They took like, I want to say 1 million photos, but I might be over-exaggerating. But it might actually be 1 million. I don't know. And they matched the color of my skin, my teeth. We did dental scans.
Wow.
The eyeballs. Apparently, my eyeball color is very similar to Dwayne Johnson's.
They told you that? Oh my.
And a couple of others. So like we had to like mix a few together to get the right color.
So Dwayne Johnson and who else? Do you remember?
I think there was a Chinese figure skater. And then there was a Chinese singer. It was very dark basically. And then hair color, hair texture to make the wig. It's real hair.
So now that you have a wax sculpture in Madame Tussauds, what perks come with it? Can you just walk into any Madame Tussauds in the world, or is there like an email group with all the people who have figures of themselves? Or?
No. I'm pretty sure I can ask. To
go to any Madame Tussauds.
Go to the Singapore Madame Tussauds.
Check it out.
Maybe overseas ones okay. I try when I go like.
Please try. Just show a picture. Okay, you see. This
is me. What if they think it's Photoshop?
Or AI or something.
But so it took like a year about there to.
About 1.5 years.
1.5 years.
Oh no, a year. But then we had to find the right time to kind of unveil the figure.
And it was unveiled like.
When we announced that we were hosting the World Championships.
I see. What a perfect time.
Cool, man.
That's crazy. Like to unveil. It's like you read about this like Premier League club unveil Ronaldo statue. Wow.
And this one looks like her, not like the Ronaldo statue.
And then because I posted it on Instagram and then had people guess which one. Honestly, they were stumped. There were a few people who kind of guessed that the statue was the real deal.
So when you have friends visiting Singapore, will you like point them, hey, go check out Madame Tussauds? I don't tell them that you
got
No, you say, I got competition coming up. I can't meet you. Go to Madame Tussauds.
But I do want to bring my nephews there and then see if they get freaked out.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true. How old are they?
The youngest one is 5.
Ah,
So I don't know if
you
they're at
will-
the age where
can.
I've had it to see.
he or she knows that you have a sculpture there, or you spring it on them like.
Maybe I spring on them.
spring
I
it on
You
don't
just
know if
meet,
they know.
meet you inside, then you're like just waiting there. You know?
Then what if they cry?
Oh, that's true. Right? They're traumatized. Right?
You want to bring your kid 4 years old still can?
I think they get scared. Yeah, 4
Yeah.
they still get scared. This
Get
kind of
scared,
thing.
right?
Yeah.
So I mean, like you have that, like if you've been immortalized in a wax museum, you have all these medals. You were an NMP a few years ago. So at what point did you realize, right, that you have influence and you feel passionate enough to want to change things, given your experience?
I feel like that moment came pretty early for me. When I was younger, I was actually very, very quiet. So background, when I was younger, I was bullied in school. So I didn't have friends or anything. So at a point in time when I started swimming competitively, I was about 12 years old. And I would be made to go to like school events and give a speech kind of thing. And I didn't know how to at all. So I would have like other athlete with me. And then there was this one experience. I remember we were at Serangoon Stadium. So he passed me the mic. And then I passed the mic back to him. Because I just didn't know what to say. So it took me a while. I think it was only in 2008 where I started to get a lot more familiar and confident because I had to do interviews. But honestly, if you look at my interviews back then, it was also very terrible. It was just kind of like, how was your swim? Good. Those kind. So I don't know at which point, but probably after the first major games where a lot of people wanted to hear what I had to say and hear me talk. And that was when I realized that I had a voice. I could share about the community, how to help the community better, just really be a voice. And I think it was at that point where it interests me that I knew that if I learned things from all over the place, I could speak for people, do it in a way that would make people listen, not just in a complaining manner, like a coffee shop uncle. And I think that was the point where I started to also get more opportunities. My first official role was when I was chef de mission. That was like my first administrative role whereby I was not an athlete. And I think that these people, whenever they do give me an opportunity, it does help me open up another part of my life where I see, before that I only knew the problems of athletes. So now on another role, I also know the other side of the story, what happens, what goes on, how do you organize the games, what are the problems you need to manage with the athletes. And as I meet different people, then it really does help to grow me as a person. It helps me to grow as a person and have more rounded opinions. At the end of the day, really understand that the pie is only this big. And if you take more from this pie now, the other party has less of this pie. So really with this concept, how do I move things forward? So I don't really turn away from opportunities. Sometimes people wonder whether they are ready. But I think if somebody gives it to you, it kind of means you're ready, right? They feel that you're ready. And if they feel you're ready, why not just try it first? So I think that was how I was in the steering committee that hosted the 2015 ASEAN Para Games in Singapore, the one after the SEA Games. So that one was, I think, the very first thing that helped me to realize that, hey, this is something I'm very interested in, and like really just help to serve and let the voice be heard.
And is a lot of that passion just based on maybe like more on your experience growing up, or the fact that now you have seen so much that you think that there's a lot of gaps to close
Really is both. I think it started off with my experience. So to a certain level, I'm able to empathize with how people are, what they're going through and how they're feeling. Of course, it's different, so I cannot completely paste my story on theirs, but I think the feelings sometimes can be pretty similar. And I forgot the question.
I mean, just like what is your main motivation for wanting to be an advocate?
I I think it's been a journey. And at the start was because I could, I had the platform. People gave me the platform. And these platforms, they're not easily given to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then eventually it really was people knowing that what I said makes sense and my opinions mattered. And then I got to speak for a larger community. And also I hear stories about people from different walks of life. And I hear their struggles. Sometimes things can be done to help them, but people need to know what these things are. So I just want to, in a sense, help, but also realistically speaking, I do all this within my capacity. Yeah, so it's not that it's too much sometimes, but if somebody wants to tell me something, I will listen.
Is there, amidst all that, is there something that grounds you? Like, do you go to Madame Tussauds and look into your eyes and, have a moment? Or is there a song or a specific meal that you have that?
I think swimming grounds me.
Oh,
Swimming, wow, perfect.
At the end of the day, I just go back to the pool, just spend some time with myself, and it grounds me. My family and friends ground me. Yeah, they treat me like any other normal Singaporean. I'm not anybody to them. I'm very, 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 very grounded by that way.
Even after you did like cover model for Her World magazine, all that, they still...
magazine cover. But they've all seen your wax sculpture lah.
They have, yeah.
I see.
I tell you, it's the curse of your own success.
I see.
Yeah. But I mean, it's really, I think it's really quite awesome to, I think even just you posting stuff happening in your life, right? Whether it's your personal life, your engagement and everything, it's awesome because, I think the message also is just, like what you say, like, even if you don't think you're ready for something, just go ahead and do it. Like, whether it's being a cover model, whether it's being like, your wax figure or winning golds or just going for gold. I think that the whole thing is just, that's what inspires people along the way. And maybe if you're not like giving big speeches and things like that, but just seeing that and following that story is damn inspiring for people. Yeah.
I do want to do more. Like, I do want to do more to let people see that. I think people very often see me as a I don't want to say icon, but something along the lines, but without a personality, Yeah. But actually, I'm super fun one. They just don't know. So I want to do more, but then also I get distracted with like Netflix, TikTok.
We need to get you on some reality show, Netflix show or something.
As long as it's not trashy.
Oh, but that's where it'll be fun,
reality
right?
TV shows are all trashy, right?
Let's go. As long as I don't have to kiss anybody and be trashy.
Can you cook?
Can cook, yeah.
Can cook, but do you want to eat? That's a different thing.
I guess that's where the fun comes in, and we can get athletes, politicians, actors.
Different
No, like just some sort of reality TV show.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Parisian chicken rice, that's your dish.
No, I mean, if you're down, because I mean, we have made TV shows in the past.
Then
we can tell everyone else, hey, Ping Xiu say yes already. You better come.
It's bound to be fun.
But looking forward, you mentioned there's the games coming up next year. What else are you looking forward to in the near future or even the long-term future?
Or this year, coming year, right?
Coming year,
yeah.
Or is that too open-ended a question?
It is a very open-ended question.
Okay, maybe 2025.
Quite excited to plan a wedding. I think
that's actually one of the toughest things for young people in Singapore.
Honestly, I've never planned a big event. I've been to big events, but I've never planned it. So I believe that there's a lot of work behind it.
We can check in with you after you plan your wedding, whether you're like, I was so naive.
My fiancé makes it sound like he is, because he did events at a certain point in his life.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was like, he got it. Okay.
He's a pro. He's a pro.
It's been a while. I think we are both. Reality has not hit us. Yes.
But I mean, at least you have a wax figure.
But what do you need to do, right? You just need to find a venue.
No, it's not about the logistics.
It's not about the logistics.
It's about the people.
The family.
Its logistics are one small part, tiny part. In fact, that is the part where even I remember looking, I was like, how difficult is it? We plan shoots and all. No.
It's different.
It's the people.
Tell me
emotions.
It's the people.
Emotions are right. People's emotions.
The people, the passive aggression and
People
all
like
that.
what? Like your parents, the bride's parents.
Just, like family, extended family. And
And then that's where even where they sit matters.
Oh.
Who they sit opposite matters, things like that.
We don't want to do like a hotel banquet kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
So no
okay.
fixed seating, is it?
Maybe a visiting, but maybe
Depends,
long table easier.
Oh no, but then
yeah.
you must
Who
think
you
about
sit
it.
with, yeah.
Like where is sitting, and then of course it's not going to be an infinite capacity, which means you might not be able to invite some people.
True.
Yeah, and then whatever philosophy you think about inviting and not inviting, you will piss some people off.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Everyone kind of starts as saying, I want a small wedding.
Exactly, that's how we started.
Everyone starts that way. Somehow it balloons or something else.
Everyone.
But I didn't recognize my wedding at the end of it already. Like,
Oh.
but your wedding was like
it was huge. Yeah. But I didn't-
How many people huge?
I mean, I think like 60 no.
Oh my
60
God.
tables, something like that.
Yeah, that's nuts.
600 people.
No, maybe not. Maybe I'm
400.
forgetting but maybe 40 or something.
Okay.
But it's a number where I don't have that many friends. I
Yes,
don't have
yes.
that many friends and family. It's obvious, right? You know.
So it's your
no longer
parents'
about-
friends.
Yeah. It is like this. Not saying it was bad. It's just much bigger than I imagined it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, both my brothers are married already, so hopefully my parents have had their fill of inviting their friends.
But you have two brothers. You are the daughter.
Yeah, the first.
Now it's slowly dawning on you.
Okay. Just plan. Don't ask questions. Just plan.
Just plan first. Don't be apologetic about anything.
Yes.
don't
After
be
that, just say, no space.
Correct.
Yeah. And the main thing, if you and your fiance are on the same page, that's the most important thing.
Yes.
That's the most important thing.
There'll be fights, There'll be fights for sure. But you'll get through it.
Let's hope it's not fights, just disagreements. And like maybe we give each other a veto. You can ask questions if you want a certain thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, the idealism.
Yeah. This was what each of us sounded like at the start of our planning journey.
I probably sounded like that before.
I just want a small thing, then
Small
be my
thing,
wife,
yeah.
intimate friends, and
Okay, I go get Europe lah. I go to Scotland, you see me come back.
So there's the excitement. I mean, it's still okay. Like don't let us dampen your excitement. It's still going to be a fun process.
Yeah.
Besides the wedding, there's the World Championships, right? And is that the main highlight? 2 highlights for next year?
Probably. Is that not enough?
Oh, don't because your life is so packed.
Maybe we'll end up doing some reality TV show. That sounds like a highlight.
That's true.
Right? Add some fun into my life.
We're writing the pitch now.
Yeah, writing the pitch.
Yeah.
About it, yeah.
But and if people wanted to find out more about the stuff you do, like the stuff you advocate for, where can we point them to?
My number, no. On social media, I'm quite easy. I'm quite easy to reach on social media.
Okay.
And then there's my email there. So if they need to write to anything,
so social media, Instagram.
Instagram.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And
I'm very millennial, I'm not so much in Facebook anymore. And then I watch TikTok a lot, but I don't produce much there. I tried for a while last year.
Yeah.
Then I kind of lost steam at a certain point. But I want to get back.
Yeah.
So maybe
and you still have a Facebook account?
pretty dead.
I would say once in a while, just go back and log in because it is a different world.
Oh.
Every once in a while, I will log in for some reason and I'm like, oh shit, like there are people I haven't heard from for damn long. And because you get every kind of content, pictures, videos, articles, as opposed to, Instagram, just videos or pictures, So it's a throwback.
How about LinkedIn? Are you on like LinkedIn?
I do have a profile, but I don't post.
Oh, you don't post? Okay,
So I'm like super
Yeah, that's very millennial.
Millennial.
Like Instagram
correct,
being the main
already.
place.
Same for us. Same for us.
Oh, yes.
I mean, ours by our job, we are forced to be everywhere. Like.
True.
But and your handle is Yip Pin Xiu.
Yip Pin Xiu.
Okay,
Yes.
Ken. All right, cool.
Yeah.
So now we have that one segment which we told you about at the start, the one Shiok Thing. We can go first. You can go last. Yeah. Terence, you have yours.
Every Christmas I always advocate like one of the most underrated Netflix TV series about Christmas out there. It's a young adult show called Dash and Lily. And it's if you really want to get the Christmas spirit and watch a show that really, brings you to Christmas in New York City, that kind of feel, and, a bit of romance, a bit of humor and all that. Watch Dash and Lily. It came out in 2020, I think. Cancelled after one season, unfortunately. But to me, it's the perfect Christmas TV series to watch to get in the mood.
Well, what's it about?
About a young boy, a cynical young boy who is left alone by his family in New York City over Christmas, who he finds a little note in a Strand bookstore in New York City. It's a very famous bookstore that, that gives him a challenge, a dare from a girl named Lily, who is on the opposite end. She loves Christmas, but her family doesn't love Christmas as much as her. So they keep doing dares across the city by communicating via notes in the books to each other. And then finally it comes to a hit. Yeah. So it's a very sweet story, and it's not what you think it sounds like some stupid rom-com for teens.
Actually, it's like Home Alone with a lot more.
A lot more. Quite poignant and everything. I really wish it went to season 2, and because there's a series of books where they go to London and then they go to other parts, and it's very nice. But I don't think it did well enough on Netflix, so they cancelled it after one season. But I felt like, wow, this is
Dash and Lily is on Netflix.
Yeah. Every year,
and it's set for Christmas,
It's set. It's a Christmas story, So
I watched it before. I remember Christmas lights and everything. It was very nice, and it's the kind you can binge watch in one night.
Correct.
Yeah, but there was a cliffhanger about them meeting somewhere else.
Yeah. No, I mean, I did say it earlier, mostly London.
Yeah, but
the
then no season 2. So
no season 2.
Okay. I thought you were going to discuss the cliffhanger because my wife and I just finished culinary class wars and we are looking for a new show.
Okay.
Dash and Lily. Yeah.
Okay,
Good.
cool.
Yeah.
I watched okay, this is not my hot take, but I watched this one's quite good also. It's it has Kristen Bell in it. Nobody wants this.
Nobody wants this.
Yeah, nobody wants
I watched it in one night. It's
Yeah.
terrible. Did you watch it?
I watched it also.
Okay.
And I mean, halfway through, I was like kind of lost, but in the end, I thought, okay, it's interesting. It's very, very watchable.
It's Christmas. It's Christmas story. No.
Yeah, it's about a Jewish rabbi who
the
falls in love.
podcaster.
Yeah, with a podcaster who's
I thought you liked it.
I liked it, but halfway through, I was like, okay, let's just stick through it. But in the end, I would say I would recommend it.
Oh, you would? Okay.
Yeah, I would
No,
recommend
it's terrible in the sense that it's so good that I finished it in one night and then I didn't sleep on time.
Oh,
Yeah, so like
it
in that
affected
sense,
you.
it's terrible, but it's great. It's so typical rom-com.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's damn typical rom-com.
Okay,
and
okay.
it's one of the shows where every episode is like 23 minutes. Which is a nice change. Change.
And then I finished my 10-season show just before that. I asked my friend what should I watch. This was like 8 p.m. at night already.
Yeah.
I started it that night and I finished it that night.
10-season show, like Friends.
Shameless.
Oh, Shameless.
Yeah.
Shameless.
Okay.
Oh, that's
The
cool.
show
Yeah,
that-
nobody wants an easy watch.
Okay.
And I really like Adrian Brody.
Yes, Adam Brody.
Adam Brody. I
Okay,
watched.
okay.
That's damn cool.
Rabbi in
Okay.
the show.
The rabbi.
Okay.
My one Shiok Thing is also content is a film. And it's called Little Miss Sunshine. It's nothing to do with Christmas, but I think it's one of those things that I think the first time I watched it with my in-laws and all was around Christmas. Because my wife and I watched it, we loved it so much, and we said this is the perfect movie for like a family. Have you seen it, Little Miss Sunshine?
No, not yet.
Came out in 2006. Stars like Steve Carell before he got famous, and a few other. I can't remember which other actors, but it's just a great show about this family that gets in a van to drive cross country for their little daughter to participate in a pageant.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's set. It's one of those like indie films and all, but it's such a good movie, and it's perfectly family friendly. And in the van, okay.
There's F-bombs and everything. How can it be family friendly?
I mean, okay, maybe not if you have like a 4-year-old or 5-year-old kid lah.
I mean, no spoilers, but there's like quite a morbid story. It's not really family friendly.
Okay, so maybe if all the adults, all the kids in the family are teenage or older, then it's a
Then
good
it's
family.
family friendly.
Terrence has his habit of shitting on my one joke.
No, I'm just there is someone who's going to listen to this and then get their 4-year-old to watch it, and then they'll be like,
I mean,
you get
there's that one
questions
part
after
where
that.
even in the show they cover the years of the 5-year-old, so you cover the years of your 4-year-old.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's a really good film. Really
Yeah,
good
watch it
okay.
tonight. That's
Yeah,
hard
yeah.
to do.
Little
Little Miss Sunshine.
Yes.
Really good.
Okay, Pin Xiu,
And
your one
what
shot
about you?
thing.
Okay, since we are on like the Christmas season, right? So my one Shiok thing was over the weekend I went to the Christmas markets in Singapore.
Yes.
You know, the World Christmas Market.
Yeah.
And honestly, in a Singapore Christmas market, you don't expect much
Correct. Yeah.
because we've
The heat.
being in the like European Christmas markets, and then it's a completely different vibe.
Yeah.
But the World Christmas markets was surprisingly good. Besides the heat, so like everybody had electric fans. It's like really pet friendly. And everybody seems to be happy there. They're in a mood. They're in a Christmas mood.
Yeah.
And the shops are actually a huge variety. They even have like malt wine and eggnog. So kind of a bit like a European Christmas, but in Singapore weather. So I think we have, people are always saying like Singapore nothing to do. Just find something to do and go there. It's actually quite nice.
It's by the water, right?
Yes, and Marina area.
Yeah, I went there last week with my
so
kid.
Good, huh?
Nice?
Nice, yeah.
Not
Because
bad.
they only start late. So it's not hot. It's not hot yet, right? So I quite appreciated
So is it by the water? Like where exactly is it?
You know where
the checkpoint, the boat checkpoint.
Yeah. Sorry? Opposite MBFC.
Oh, okay.
So it's very big. You can't miss it.
Yeah, I have no idea where the boat checkpoint is.
You don't know?
Which boat checkpoint?
Where there's the regatta. And
the regatta.
Yeah, the DBS, all the sailboats
but
are
that's
there.
around the bay, lah.
Yeah, it's around the bay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Along
So
the
is it the
bay,
promontory that opens?
Correct,
Yes,
that area.
promontory.
Yes.
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 Nice mood. And then
there's
the
a lady,
performances and all
singing Christmas carols.
Yeah.
After that, we were in a mood for some jazz music, but then we were like, Sunday, no jazz club open.
I see. But you were saying pet friendly, so you bring your pet there or anything?
We didn't, because we were not like near home before we went there, but we really wanted to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I brought my dogs, so it was nice to be able to bring pets without feeling guilty. Because in Singapore, I feel guilty most places I bring my dogs. Because not so friendly, but this one's friendly.
But cool. Maybe I'll go.
In Singapore, not a lot of places you can bring your dogs. I can talk about that for 2 hours.
Same.
But cool.
Yeah, go before Christmas season ends. Sunday
so this
night
weekend
is a good time.
This weekend.
Is there only one weekend left?
Yes.
Oh my
It is,
god.
yeah.
That's
Next
so
week's
soon.
Christmas.
Next week's Christmas already.
Oh my
So all the shows we talk about, so you got to binge watch in the next
Yes.
7 days. as well.
Yeah. And I mean, we are recording this. Today is 18th. It'll come on Christmas week, lah.
Yeah.
Christmas
No,
week.
would it be too late for people to...
Never too late.
Never too late.
If you can binge finish like one whole
That's
season.
true.
It's never too late, right? Yeah.
But
It's called determination, resilience.
Exactly.
Discipline.
Discipline.
Set your goals out for Christmas. What are your goals?
How many shows have you watched? How many markets I need to go?
Are your goals for Christmas?
Let's set it right now.
And then just work through it, lah. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.
This has been awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for everything you've done, and all the best for everything you're going to do.
We'll see you at the World Championships.
Yay.
Correct.
We'll see you there for sure.
Yes.
You hear us shouting.
Find a way for me to spot you, okay?
I'll be shouting your name. Yeah, if you hear a very low voice shouting your name, it's me.
Thanks you.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everyone listening, please check her out on Instagram. And support Team Singapore as much as you can.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll talk to you all soon.
See you on reality TV.
Yes.